It is raining so hard here that I could hear it through the roof of the studio warehouse ceiling. But water by itself does not feed your plants.
No.
Plants have little drinking straws, roots, and they usually absorb only from the end of the root. When you add a wetting agent to whatever you use to feed, man, you can get some great results. Richard Jackson is the plant expert in the UK. His products are always the best selling at our sister station in London. A dear, dear friend who also knows everything there is to know about planting and gardening is Barbara King. Thank you for coming out on such a pretty day.
I know, but you know what? I love telling people about Richard Jackson's secrets. And this is one of the greatest ones because in the summertime, all of our plants dry out.
Right.
And then once they dry out, even if it does start to rain or you're watering, that crusty soil does not absorb like it should absorb. And Richard has made it possible for us to have soil that absorbs like a sponge. Most of our plants, when we get them from a nursery, already have a wetting agent in them. And that's why they look so good and they're so easy to water. Well, after about 30 days, it washes away. So you can replenish it, keep the water flowing through the soil, keep the nutrients in the soil, and in such an easy way, he's made it unfailable. This is the measuring that you just squeeze the bottle and you will see you can make the exact amount that you would like to make of Richard Jackson. 5 milliliters is going to make 1.5 gallons.
So this little bottle makes how much wetting agent?
180 gallons. It's going to last you well throughout probably 2 years.
Yes.
Now I'm going to do a little demo here. This is just water. I'm putting water in both of these dishes. If you would mix the Richard Jackson in, you just pour it in.
Water is the elixir of life.
It sure is.
And we take that
I'll
little bowl
take
so we
that
can show
out.
it. Yep.
Goodbye. So the Richard Jackson mixed in the water. Now I'm going to take 2 peat moss pellets. This is just representing what your soil is like in the middle of the summer.
Sit and watch. Watch this.
Yeah.
It actually makes the molecules of water smaller.
Yeah, and it
so
finds
it can get it finds. That's a good way to put it.
Finds its way into the soil. Look at Richard Jackson wetting agent compared to just the water here. This pellet, which is the same pellet, is eventually going to draw up water, but it takes time. And look at it, compared to Richard Jackson, this is already soaking up. I'd love to show you another demo that I have right here.
Well, what it means to your plants is this: water alone is not enough. I'm a farmer. I've known about wetting agents for years, but they were very expensive and they were difficult to work with.
Now I'm showing you just how water beads up. Now, that's what it does, like with my hanging baskets.
Right.
I've mixed in Richard Jackson there. Will you give that a whirl,
I'm
sir?
I'm going to go over the top of the water with the Richard Jackson and watch. 1, 2, 3.
Soaking
and watch how in 3 drops,
in.
all of a sudden, it's pulled and absorbed in. I'll do another one from overhead. This is beating up on the top.
It's just a big water bubble there.
Yes.
Richard Jackson.
The water isn't permeating this peat moss, but watch what happens. We'll go 1, 2, 3, and immediately it starts to soak in.
Isn't that so cool?
So what you're actually able to do now is to make water more accessible to your plant.
I know. Now look, this one that is in water over here is still having a hard time absorbing the water. Look at the Richard Jackson one right here, the Aqua Plus.
Yep.
I'm going to bring this over to give it a chance like I do with my plants, with my hanging baskets. Once you get that wetting agent into your water, it's going to allow watering into your soil. Your soil becomes more like a sponge, and it's going to accept the water, it's going to accept the nutrients, and it soaks all the way through. Let me show you.
Yep.
Because in the summertime, even when I am just watering and watering, I'll get dry patches. This soaks all the way through, so your soil doesn't have those dry pockets.
I'll tell you what, for any house plants. And by the way, this one bottle for the average individual, again, can last up to 2 years.
Yeah.
The rain that we're getting right now has been torrential.
It sure has.
Again, I've said before, my day off is Friday. It's rained 11 Fridays in a row.
Oh.
But that rain by itself doesn't necessarily mean that your plants are getting the hydration that they need.
Definitely not.
In fact, sometimes when the soil gets very wet by itself, you get a lot of runoff. So what this is doing is maximizing the ability of the soil not only to get water, but to retain it.
Yeah, and you know what I love too? Like on slopey areas, that water just, you get that runoff and runoff. Richard Jackson Aqua Plus will help that water soak right into that slope, so it stays in there and doesn't wash away.
And a little bit goes a long way. 1.8 gallons of water for every 5 milliliters of the Aqua Plus. So you can use it either in foliar feeding,
oh sure,
okay, for the plant itself, or just water out of a watering can.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
amazing stuff. And now at a clearance sale price, when you need it most.
Yeah.
Pick it up now, don't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. That Easy Pay, by the way, goes away at the end of the day. I've got about 7 minutes, and then I'm gonna show you a pick of the show. A wonderful, wonderful item that I own in my own home, my office, by the way. We'll show you that in just a little bit. There's a brand name that America has come to know and trust as the leaders in making sure that our floors are truly their best.